and Sony canceled the PS5 reveal event. It was supposed to be June 5th. The comment section on this shit was great. What did it do for you, Jay, when they announced that the PS5 event was canceled because Black Lives Matter? That shit people be finding scary. It's not scary to me. You know what's scary to me? That the idea of that I could be pulled over by a police officer and they can say they smell weed on me, knowing that. And y'all know I've never drank. You've never even seen me drink. I've never drank in my life. I've never done any drugs, never smoked no weed. And a police officer can say he smelled weed on me and I wouldn't even get the benefit of the fucking doubt. Then he can plant some drugs in my car and I get locked up. That's what scares me. Not no fucking Resident Evil. That's actually a really good transition to what we're about to talk into next. So a lot of events were getting canceled because of the whole Black Lives Matter. There's this whole thing going on in America. I guess people are finally realizing. People finally realizing. Yeah, people are finally starting to realize that Black lives kind of matter. Like, maybe we shouldn't be shooting down black people, for no fucking reason. So because of that, there's been a lot of protests. And Sony canceled the PS5 reveal event. It was supposed to be June 5th. The comment section on this shit was great. What did it do for you, Jay, when they announced that the PS5 event was canceled because Black Lives Matter?
Not much, because I highly doubt that Sony is going to have this energy for tomorrow, for the rest of the year, forever. So I just feel like they were just using it as an excuse just to say, hey, like, we're on your side. And that's how I feel about a lot of companies. But we all know that we've had our own personal experiences with Sony. So we have, we have that personal experience. It's not just, because it's Sony and just what we feel like. So we already know how they get down. So this really doesn't mean much to me.
In terms of the personal experiences, though, to play devil's advocate, those experiences were with the American branch. Like, that was the Japanese branch that issued that. At the end of the day, that was the Japanese branch that issued that statement. Who's to say that they don't actually care about Black lives?
I'm still not going to be optimistic about it.
I'm not convinced.
Yeah, it probably is clout. I'm just playing devil's advocate. You never know.
I don't trust Sony as far as I could throw them, in my opinion. From my experience with Sony and our experience with Sony, like, there's a very elitist attitude that comes from specifically PlayStation's media that's kind of concerning.
Yeah,
it seems like we're not alone in that belief. So.
Yeah, I feel that. And then also some other stuff that happened. Activision is now cracking down on racist usernames because Black Lives Matter, as well as yesterday. Hold on. And then yesterday they also shut down the servers in a moment of silence. And then when you tried to play Call of Duty, like, a screen popped up and it said hashtag Black Lives Matter. Now imagine being a racist person and turning on Call of Duty, which is, by the way, like, Call of Duty might as well be like a clan meeting.
Festering zone.
A festering zone of racist motherfuckers. And you see hashtag Black Lives Matter when you try to play your Call of Duty. What did that do for y'all?
I mean, it made a lot of racists upset, but it didn't do anything for me because, again, just like Sony, I don't see this being a thing that's going to change the climate of Call of Duty just overnight. Like, come on now. Like, there's still going to be a lot of racists on there. You're not going to stop people from saying racist things because it's really not just with the usernames. It's with the voice chat. Like, it's been like that since forever, as long as I can remember, as long as multiplayer games were able to be played online without you being, right across from somebody. So, yeah. I highly doubt this is going to change anything, but I will say on the other side, I found it very interesting that they actually put that in there, because when I first saw it, I was like, wait a minute, did Call of Duty did that? Activision? The Activision has been canceling all their games, and it's been super fucking toxic with all their games for years. That Activision? Very interesting.
My only question with Activision is, like, why now? Like, where were you in the Modern Warfare 2 days, when I was getting called nigger just fucking every 5 seconds, every lobby? Why do you care all of a sudden is what I'm because it's one of those things, like, you have to be aware of your own audience. Like I said, Call of Duty might as well just be a clan meeting. Like,
to be fair, I feel like those periods of time were two different periods of time. I feel like back then there wasn't this sort of social justice level of awareness that gets spread, and plus Twitter was Twitter even out at that point? No, I don't.
Twitter came out in 06.
Twitter came out.
06 or something like that. Like
it wasn't popular though. I got on Twitter 2010 maybe.
I remember Twitter didn't get really popping until like 2013, 20.
I got on in 09, but I think 2011 was when like
started popping off.
I found out about Twitter from Charles Hamilton.
Good job, buddy.
Charles Hamilton.
He used to rap about it all the time.
Yeah, but yeah. So like I don't know. Like I think that's like maybe what it is. Just like social media has become so hyper now that like I don't know. It's kind of this whole thing where it's just like if you don't say something, people are gonna call you on it. So you better say something. And then when you're like Activision or Blizzard, it kind of comes on deaf ears if you're like talking about, oh, we care about Black Lives Matter, but then like literally months ago you were like shutting people from saying political things for like Hong Kong and shit. It's very audio ain't matching the visuals. And there's like a couple companies like that they're the first ones to be posting about Black Lives Matter and these tweets and stuff, but then like a bunch of Black creators are all like, hey, you say this, but your actions for the past couple of years with like Black creators doesn't match up with this type of statement. So very interesting.
True. 2K, they're giving away Black Lives Matter t-shirts. You want to ball on one? What's that doing for anybody here?
You have to pay VC for them?
I don't know. I don't play 2K, so
it might have been free. I would assume it was.
I would hope it'd be. That'd be really scary.
I would have put past 2K.
I mean, this is true. This is true. But no, I think that it was actually free for them to pick up.
And then what was it? Play Live got pushed back, which was EA's event, EA Live, EA Plays event. They were going to do like a little live streaming thing that got pushed back to I think like the 18th because of they were saying Black Lives Matter and shit. What did EA? Did they have anything to show?
Yes.
What was it?
Like game wise, or are you talking about?
Yeah, what are they gonna show? Anthem 2.0 or some shit?
No, they said that Anthem 2.0 still like we're probably not gonna see anything about Anthem until next year. I think there's another Star Wars game in development, so they could be teasing that.
So soon though.
Yeah, they said they were working. There was like another like Maverick, like so all the studios right now. It seems like all of them have been like moved on to new projects. So like all the games that they've been working on this generation, it seems like they're now like getting support for. Like,
they opened a studio for Apex too. Only.
Yeah, like there's a new like I feel like Apex would have got like some big announcement. Or they're gonna do something with Apex. Please be Titans. Please be fucking Titans.
I hope that means like a steady flow of content since they have a studio dedicated to Apex now.
Yeah, so like maybe it's that. I think also Battlefield's the big one. I mean, that's the one we know for a fact. Battlefield 6 is like it's in development. They're working on it after like 5 kind of just upped and died, and they fucked that one up pretty badly. They got a lot to prove, so like they're putting like it seems like they're putting a lot of developers on that game. And it's probably gonna be the first game on the next gen, so they're probably making sure it looks like really, really good. So that's
Mass Effect.
Dragon Age. No, Dragon Age. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The remaster could have been teased, or they could have announced it. But Dragon Age, like that's the next BioWare game. So I guarantee you, like there's a Dragon Age like trailer.
Did I tell you AJ DM'd me? And he was like,
AJ DM'd me like, bro, you gotta stop. I was like, all right.
He was like,
no, we don't.
This actually pertains to the Black Lives Matter and fucking Mass Effect.
Yeah.
He DM'd me and he was like, for those of you who don't know, AJ is like a guy who works at EA that we know. He was like, he's like, I know you're probably tired of hearing this from white people, but he's like, how are you doing? And I was like, believe it or not, you're actually the first white person to DM me and ask me. I was like, that sounds fucked up, but I was like, I'm being honest. And he was like, oh wow. And I was like, anyways, I was like, I'm fine, but I was like, anyways, I was like, so what's up with that Mass Effect? Yeah, where's that Mass Effect? And he was like, chill. He's like, if I could tell you something, I would. And I was like, I'll take that as you guys are working on it. Then wink, wink.
I was just thinking as it better be in development.
Right. I'm not confirming. I'm not saying it's confirmed. I'm just saying I like fucking with him. That's all I'm saying.
We're not trying to get him in trouble the job.
Right. I'm just saying I like fucking with him. That's all.
We're insinuating. We're just fucking with him. He's a great employee for you guys.
Yeah, AJ's one of the few people. Because we've been spending a lot of time like shitting on people. He's one of the few people I can say in the industry who I came to him and I was like, yo, you need some more black people at EA at these EA events, and I told him I got Ethos in, JG, Nomad, I think. To like some EA event. He listened, like he cool. Like it's a lot of industry people following me with check marks that work at IGN and GameSpot now. None of this whole Black Lives Matter things. I can say he's one of the few people like he fucked with us just because he fucked with us.
Two I will give credit to is two companies I will give credit, which is hilarious, like because everyone hates them.
Ubisoft and EA.
Ubisoft and EA, like
Yes, sir.
people love shitting on them, but I will give them credit. Like they actually do the action. They're not like all the talk. Like EA, I remember when TBH first did that thing. He was like, yeah, it was like back when the Anthem first was revealed. He was like, yeah, you should give more blah 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 than this. And like it was like literally the same day. Like I was talking, like he introduced me to like literally some people who were working on BioWare, who were working on the game and stuff. Like it was like that day. So like I will give them credit and a shout out to EA and Ubisoft. Like they really do try to push to have
their business practices are trash, but they are inclusive. Yeah, we'll give them that much.
They're not a company that just like, oh, we're just gonna talk. We're just a brand. We care, but they don't really like. They actually do that. So give them credit. These other companies though.
Looking spooky.
Looking spooky.
Which is funny too, because that's actually a good segue, because that's actually what's next on the notes. Like streamers and YouTubers have been calling out brands and pressuring them to make a statement about Black Lives Matter. I think it's actually funny because I don't actually know what that's supposed to do. What do y'all think about all that?
I think it's good. I mean, I don't know if we should give names, but I personally think that it is good that this is happening, because what we're seeing here is specifically one that I knew for a fact that I really was getting pissed off about was Sony. PlayStation is, like, in my opinion, I thought about this, and I remember, like, I was talking with Paris about this, and Khalif. I said, it's kind of crazy to me that like Last of Us 2 is coming out in 13 days, and I have yet to see one person who's a person of color. I haven't seen one black person who has an early copy of this game who's been able to give their thoughts on it. I can't think of one. All I've seen is like the same people who've gotten this game early, who are playing it right now, and they're gonna give their opinions. But like, there's no like certain person who's like me who can give their opinion about like their take on the game. And I was like, that's very interesting.
And to play devil's advocate, because, there's going to be some people that are going to be like, well, why does it matter to get a black perspective? The best example I think it matters to get different perspectives on games is Mafia 3. Those Mafia 3 reviews that game has one of the best stories that I've ever played, and is one of the most accurate depictions of being black in America. And no white game reviewer even mentioned that shit, bro. So you wouldn't even have known it. And that's why I advocate and I always ride hard for yes, the gameplay was a little repetitive, but I feel like every black gamer should play Mafia 3. You be like, wow, these developers did their research. Yeah, they did their research, and I feel like a different perspective mattered, because like to them it was just a story, but to us, like, that shit was like yo, this is really what it feels like. This shit is crazy.
And you know why that shit happens is because when you hire, like what they did, right? Like when you hire people who are diverse, when you hire people who have different backgrounds and have that experience, then it doesn't come off as like fake, or it doesn't come off as like insensitive, because you have a bunch of white people who are working on a game about a black person living in the 1960s, and then you're gonna be like, I guess we'll figure out how to do this. Like, no, you need to get people who understand that experience and know the history and background of it.
Yeah, Call of Duty World War II.
In the door.
Call of Duty World War II is tone deaf.
Yeah, I just played World War II, and it is the most tone deaf game when it comes to like race I've ever seen. Like,
they had them fighting side by side. Those fucking platoons were segregated, and they called them niggers, and they were trying to hang them.
Yeah. There's only literally in my entire experience of playing, I played the entire campaign. I streamed it, and I made a note of this. I was like, there's only one black person who's a side character that you actually speak to on multiple missions, and he doesn't show up until literally like the last quarter of the game. And this time, like, they don't even like, you can't even tell, like, they try to hide that there's no sort of like prejudice towards him. They don't even like, he's like the only person. And they make a joke about how,
which is a lie in itself, because there were whole brigades of black men. But the fact there's only one in the game, get the fuck out of here.
They don't show them at all. Like Battlefield 5, for the shit it got, at least it showed the different perspectives of how there were black soldiers in World War II and how they actually contributed to the war. Like, they showed that, like, with the French.
Oh, I love Hellfighters.
I forgot the Indian. I forgot what they're called. I apologize, but yeah, them too. They also contributed really well. Like there's a bunch of stuff that's just like, it's just, oh, let's just do D-Day for the 50th fucking time. And it's like, dog, I'm fucking tired of looking at this shit. It's the same shit over and over. It's like, that's why I give Battlefield 5 credit for. Like, they showed shit I didn't even know about, and like settings that I didn't even know were like fought in World War II. So I thought that was
like, I wonder how many white people know about the Tuskegee Airmen. Like, like, it was a whole
couple of them do, but like not a lot.
It was a whole like brigade of black dudes who flew and just beat everybody's ass, but whatever.
And then they came back and got called again.
Yeah, and that's why it's fuck Drew Brees.
Yeah, that's why it's fuck Drew Brees.
But going back to the Mafia 3 conversation, that's really important. I remember when I was streaming that, it was people that I've never seen in my stream before. They came in here and they was like, yo, like I've been watching white people stream this, and it just feels super awkward because they just don't know what's going on. And they were like, it's nice to see a black perspective, like you actually playing the game and you're like reacting to things. Like they're just sitting there playing the game just to play it, just because it's new.
To them, it's a fictional universe. They don't think that's actually real.
Yeah. So that again brings it back to the point that it's very important to get perspectives from us, especially when it's related to us. That's very important there. So going back to Sony, they're just I don't know what's going on over there.
Yeah. Like we've had multiple experiences with Sony, and like that, like it's always been like some negative or like some sort of wall or obstacle put in the way. And it's not even like I hate the whole argument of, oh, we would do this, we would hire them, we would use them, we would give this, but like we just don't know where they are. We can't find like that. I don't buy that.
Then you're not even trying to know where they are, because I'm gonna give another example. Fucking Funhouse put out a video talking about Black Lives Matter. It was so fucking tone deaf and cringy. They put it in the Discord. That's the only reason I knew about it, because apparently they were talking about me, and it was 4 white people talking on stream about how Black Lives Matter. But it was one of those examples where I would talk about that they love to talk about us instead of to us.
But you look, and it's like, where's the black person?
Yeah, and they were making that whole argument. We just didn't know they exist. We didn't know where to look. Well, stop talking about us and talk to us. You dropped my name, but you didn't talk. You didn't talk to me, bro. That's a problem.
Yeah, exactly. And then like another example of this is like Detroit Become Human. I think JG played it. I played it, right? Like it hits on a point about racism that I think is very important that a black person should give their perspective on how the game fails at it at times. But like if you have a bunch of white people reviewing it and a white person wrote it, it's like they're gonna look at it and be like, oh yeah, this seems fine.
Bro, nah, we both played that game, and immediately like even the chat, they were like, yo, this feels a little bit too familiar. Is this really about androids, or is this about black people? Like, nah, bro.
Analogy for black people, and
you cannot tell me that wasn't a reference to the black person.
It definitely was.
Come on now.
And the main character was black. They just tried to guise it behind the fact that he was a robot to make people feel comfortable.
It's freaking Jesse, bro. Like we do like, nah, bro.
But I wonder how many people actually understood that. Did that fly over their heads, or was it just another fictional world with robots to them?
But that's the funny thing, though, because the creator originally said that it wasn't, and then he reneged and said that it was. But that's because he got pressure.
An analogy, and then he got pressure. Yeah, and then when he made it, he said, "Yeah, it is an analogy." Then people criticized the shit out of the story because it was just like, this is an inaccurate okay, for example, I'm sorry, I have to bring this up. The black dude that's in Detroit Become Human, not Jesse, the big one that protects Kara.
Yeah. The one that was in the house.
That shit was so stupid, bro. That shit was like, I couldn't even like start with like how, not triggering, but like how uncomfortable that made me feel, just like playing that through. I was like, this feels very tone deaf to me. And it was just a lot of stuff about that game. It was just like, I enjoyed the game, don't get me wrong. Like I like the whole like you beat MLK, you beat Malcolm X at the end. I thought that was really cool. But like overall, there's definitely areas like from a racial standpoint where like you make the analogy of, like with like basically of how like America's been. It's very tone deaf in areas, or very like ignorant in other areas of how like racism actually works and functions. So yeah.
But then they get a character like Coltrane and it's totally relatable to him. Yeah, okay, I get that. Like, yeah, black guy yelling. Okay.
In any other way that we've been depicted, not only in video games, but in movies and cartoons. Like, bro, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but seriously, fuck Drew Brees. Also, I got on that, like people coming at brands. I think it's funny. Hopefully,
I didn't give my So I don't feel like this is going to do my. I'm hoping that it is, but it's just very hard to be optimistic that streamers coming at brands for not saying anything that it's going to lead to actual change. It's very hard for me to be like, oh yeah, change is actually coming because people are speaking up. I'm going to hope so, but I don't think that it's really doing much. Like some people are just going out of their way to just witch hunt every single brand, and I don't think that that's cool. Like if they did not feel the need to say something before, then I don't feel like you should pressure or bully anybody into just making a generic white text on black background saying that Black Lives Matter or we care about black people all of a sudden because you didn't before. And for like specifically in our industry, for the ones that have not said anything, or that the ones that have said anything, and we know for a fact that like you blackballed certain people just because of the color of their skin, or their gender, like, nah, bro, like we kind of know like who you are, and it's pretty much fuck you at this point. Like, I don't want your pity partnership just because, you know, people bullied you into saying anything. Like, I need for you to have that same energy every day about black people. Like, I'm not trying to really hear that shit. So like I said, it's cool that, you know, some brands have spoken up about it, but I wanted them to do that like before they were pressured to do it, because at the end of the day, like, if you're pressured to do it, then it's not genuine. So that's just how I feel about it. I don't like the witch hunt. You shouldn't make anybody speak up, you know, just because you feel some type of way. If they like, if you really fuck with them and if you think that they're a genuine company, then they should have said something from the start.
What I would like to say at the end of this conversation is, just remember, just because you're a gamer does not mean you're a good person. Just because you got bullied in high school for playing Zelda does not mean you don't have blind spots. A lot of you are racist. Yeah, a lot of you are racist, and I think some people are starting to realize that, like, wait a minute. Like, there's no correlation between the two. Like, that's crazy. Like, yeah, being black is different than being a gamer. Like, it's just a different thing. I was always gonna say, one positive thing we could leave this on. You know how who I thought had like the best protest was Lego. Their shit was funny to me. So for those of y'all aware, Lego pulled all police sets and advertisements. They pulled it off the store shelves, so you could not buy a Lego police set. They said fuck 12. That shit had me fucking dying. I was like, I think I don't got no kids, but I'm definitely gonna buy them some Legos.
Lego set.
Yeah, Legos about their life.
Yeah, so shout out to fucking Legos. They said fuck the police, bro. That shit is great.